How do you stop your dog from pulling on the lead in less than 10 minutes? Today I'm going to show you no nonsense live demos to transform this puppy's bad habits into this amazing, relaxing, loose lead walk. The first step is using a proper tool. So we've got Max on a long line, but this is not good enough for what we want to achieve today. It's the same in construction. If you was using a hammer to cut a piece of wood, it's just not going to get the same effect as if you was using a saw. So we're going to switch over to my trusty slip lead. Now we're not going to use a prong collar or anything like that. So we're just going to switch him over to this. Maxie boy, good boy, good lad. So with a slip lead, you want it underneath the jaw, close to the sort of knobbly bone at the top of the head, nice and snug behind the ears, and then always use that stopper to kind of keep it in place. Now all slip leads will eventually start to slide down the neck. What you can start to do is just stop them and kind of readjust it as you need to. Shot. So the next step is what we call a corrective U-turn. Now before we go into an example of this and a demonstration, I'm going to explain what we need to do and how you need to do it. So a corrective U-turn is pretty straightforward. So we'll walk in one direction, we'll turn sharply and walk in the other direction. So what we'll do is we'll use a verbal cue. For example, Max, let's go. If he doesn't respond on that verbal cue, we can then pop the lead. And with the lead, it's not a pull, so you do not want to pull your dog. You want to just nice sharp pop, nothing too, just literally like that. You're not putting too much pressure on, you're not hurting him, he's not crying, he's not in any discomfort. It's just almost like a tap on the shoulder to be like, hey, pay attention to me. Let's go. Let's go. Good boy. Good lad. Max, good boy. Yes, good lad. So he is switching sides, but that's not too much of a problem. I'm not after the perfect show heel at the moment. But as you can see, I'm not having to use any lead pressure at the moment. He's just responding to those verbal commands, which is absolutely what we want. Good lad. And it's really important to reinforce them when they're doing good. So when he responds to me, let's go. Good boy. Come on. Let's go. Good boy. Let's go. So there, that was perfect there. Good example. So he kind of looked at me, but he didn't follow me. So we had to give him just a little pop, nothing too harsh. But now that, again, just like a tap on the shoulder to let him know that, hey, we're going this way. So to take this to the next stage now, as he's pretty comfortable with these corrective U-turns, when I start adding different types of U-turns, we can introduce squares, figure of eight. You may have already heard of it. If you haven't, just simply we'll walk in a figure of eight or we'll walk in a square. So with squares, you want to walk slowly in one direction, right angle turn, and walk this way. A few steps, turn and go. And another left turn and go. Good boy, Max. Good lad. As you can see, he's dropping back. He's really starting to check in with me now, looking at me because I'm being unpredictable. He doesn't know where I'm going to go. Add some treats in there. So when he's doing great, when he's on that loose lead, I want to reward him for that. Good boy. And we'll add loads of treats in there. That's a jackpot because he listens to me straight away. Good boy. There we go. So now we can start to introduce some figure of eights, make it a little bit more challenging for him. Let's go. Get him checking in with us. His head's kind of to the ground at the moment. So as soon as he kind of puts his nose to the ground, I am going to correct that because sniffing is for later. We're doing a training session at the moment and I kind of want him to pay attention to me. Now some of you may think that's a little bit too harsh, but believe me, after this 10-minute session, he's going to be able to sniff all he wants. If we're by a main road, it could potentially lead him to follow his nose into the main road, so we need to be careful with that. So the third and final step to mastering loose lead walking is to add sudden stops in. So we've added U-turns, we've added our squares, we've added figure of eights, making our walks more unpredictable. Now I don't mind at this stage if he kind of stops a little bit in front of us. I just want him to understand when I stop, he needs to stop at some point. Just in front of me is good enough because he's only a pup. We don't want to expect too much from him. So we'll walk again, let's go. And then just stop suddenly. Sit. And then pop the lead and then we can pay him. This is perfect, this is all I want. When I stop, he's engaged with me, he's looking at me, and he's going to get paid for that. So we're going to stop. I'm kind of let him work it out. Brilliant, good boy, good boy. Good lad, jackpot there. So just to break that down, I didn't ask him to sit, he sat on his own accord, he chose to sit there, and that is what we call free shaping. So if he makes that decision by himself, we're going to reward that massively because we didn't ask him to do it, he just chose to do that. Again, we'll do a few more of these. He's a little bit distracted. Sit. Good boy. Let's go. Sit. Good boy. Sit. Good lad. As your dog becomes more comfortable with doing this, you can start to kind of use the lead to kind of guide him into that heel position still. Because say if there's a road in front of your feet, you don't want that dog stepping in front of your feet. You want that dog behind you or next to you, because obviously you've stopped for a reason. You don't want your dog to cross that threshold. As you get more experience with that, just use the lead pressure to kind of pull him back into position and get him behind. So I'll do an example of that. So let's go, Max. So stop. As he starts to go in front, I'm putting pressure on, almost like the brakes of your car, and just bringing him back. And as you can see, he's in line with my feet now.